طيب, was denkst du ist Heimat für mich oder wo?
Du hast doch deine Heimat. Ich glaube.
Warum glaubst du das?
Weil du weißt bis jetzt nicht, wo. Was willst du machen und wo willst du hingehen?
Aber was hat das mit Heimat zu tun?
Ja, ich weiß, dass du Damaskus magst, sehr. Aber ich weiß nicht, ob die Heimat für dich oder nicht.
Abdin Bey versucht den Syrern eine Art Gebrauchsanweisung für Deutschland zu geben. Schließlich kennt er die Unterschiede zwischen der arabischen und der deutschen Kultur. Oft kommt es zu Missverständnissen, denn was in dem einen Land ein absolutes No-Go ist, kann in dem anderen völlig legitim sein. Abdin Bey sagt seinen Zuhörern deswegen ganz klar: Ihr seid hier Gast, also müsst ihr euch anpassen.
Buena, Chiara, buena.
This is me at around 4 years old. I grew up pretty comfortably with my 2 older brothers and my parents in Syria. We lived in Damascus, and we moved houses a lot, more times than I can count. So in that sense, moving around has always been a part of my life. My childhood in Damascus shaped a pretty big part of my identity today. I still remember my dad teaching me how to swim, holding my mom's hand when we went shopping in the souks, and even playing around with my friends in the bus on our way to school. Overall, I was living a pretty fun life in Damascus, except for the fact that my brothers annoyed me a lot. That was until the infamous Syrian civil war hit on March 15, 2011, coincidentally, a day before my birthday. I still remember that day in our apartment on March 15 when I was watching the news and the protests in Daraa were being reported. Maybe it was due to me being just a little kid, but I was actually kind of hopeful for the change that this might bring to our country, the way that it kind of did for other Middle Eastern countries. But then things escalated and took a wrong turn. This fateful war then led me to leave Syria 1 year later, on March 16, 2012, my actual birthday, and immigrate to Germany. Germany has actually always been a part of my family's life since before I was born, with my dad's work often requiring him, my mom, and my older brother to stay there for months at a time. You could say that my dad always had sort of a dual approach to life, having us based both in Damascus and Hamburg, Germany. This duality stopped when I was born, when we were finally fully settled in Damascus. So the rest of my family were mostly familiar with Germany, except for 12-year-old me. I spent the rest of my childhood until the age of 18 in Germany, slowly growing an unjustifiable dislike towards the country. So as soon as I was able to, I left. I saved up money and moved to the UK to start university. I was really excited to be independent and away from home, and to just have a choice as to where I live for the first time. But even that didn't satisfy whatever I was subconsciously searching for. So then, I moved to South Korea for a year to try and reclaim yet another foreign land as some kind of home, the way my dad accepted Germany as his second home. I took my small camcorder with me everywhere I went to try and capture every memory I could, as a sort of archive. I ended up with a lot of footage, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. This brings us to now, where I am back in the UK, and after some reflection and looking back on my archive, I realize that I keep seeking chaos. I began trying to understand why that is. Why I keep drastically changing my environment and leaving whichever country I'm in every 3 months like it's some kind of replacement to the sense of belonging that I lost that day on March 16th, 2012. I've been racking my brain trying to figure this out for a while now, so I decided to make this film to try and work through what all this could mean. I actually kept avoiding making this film because I just don't want to face whatever I might find out. I do know that my way of life so far has been a reaction to me leaving Syria. I've been trying to recreate a sense of belonging in all of these countries, but where do I belong in the end? I decided to try and get out of my own head about this, so I asked my mom all these questions that have been on my mind.
الهجرة بعمر صغير مقارنة فيكم انتو كيف أثرت علي أنا؟
يعني أتخيل نفس الشي صابك اللي هو دخلتي بدوامة شو بدي، وين أنا، مين أنا، شو بدي، ولما عرفتي شو بدك قلتي مو هذا اللي بدي إياه، هيك صار فيكي يعني.
بتظني هذا بسبب الهجرة ولا شو أثر الهجرة؟
يعني ممكن يكون ما تشكلت عندك النفسية الصح. انتي حاولتي دايما ترقدي لتثبتي لحالك بانه انتي ناجحة، اوكي، هيك للبكالوريا ونجحتي وتفوقتي، بس اجتماعيا ما قدرتي تكوني ولا صداقة. ما بعرف ليش، يعني صداقاتك كانت قليلة كتير، وحطيتي هدفك انه بدك تدرسي اعلام ووصلتي له، ميديا قصدي، ولما وصلتي له كمان ما عجبك الوضع ورحتي على كوريا وما عجبك الوضع فما بعرف، يعني بدك اتخيل هي بس بدك قاعدة مع حالك شوي وبعدين
ليش؟
ما بعرف.
At this time, I was coming back to Germany for the first time in over a year after my return from Seoul. This was the longest time I spent without seeing my family, especially my mom, who I'm really close to. My return back to the UK from South Korea had ignited a sort of journey of self-reflection for me. After coming back, I found myself feeling extremely exhausted and kind of burned out. I was very confused as to why this could be. This continued for around 2 months until I visited Germany to see my family. It was after that first night back at my mom's house in Heidelberg that I finally figured out why I was feeling the way I was. From the first time I left Germany and up until that point when I came back, I had constantly been running around, repeating my pattern of going somewhere, feeling suffocated there, and leaving again, over and over and over. I think that's why my return to Germany, which is a safe place where my mom was, hit me like a brick. It was the first time in a long time where I was no longer living in a constant state of chaos. A state of chaos that I chose to send myself into as soon as I became independent. So for the first time in a long time, I wasn't running after anything anymore. I wasn't chasing after chaos to fill the lack of belonging that leaving Syria caused. But I didn't like that. Just because I stopped seeking a sense of belonging in that moment doesn't mean like I felt like I belonged in Germany or at my mom's house. After just a couple of days there, I started to become antsy. I started to feel uncomfortable with the sense of false belonging that my family environment brought upon me. So after 5 days, I left again. And then I went to Dubai. And there, I met a friend who shared the same background as me. He also migrated at a young age and has since been constantly wandering. It was the first time I found someone who understood this experience. I had a conversation with him about our experience and why stability is uncomfortable for us. To which he replied, "Chaos is comfort for people like us." That's when I finally understood what I've been doing this whole time and what it all meant. Until then, I had been claiming my state of chaos as only a reaction to a lack of belonging. I was stuck in trying to figure out why I don't want stability and why I felt incomplete. In the process, I forgot to appreciate the amazing memories and conversations that my chaos created. I didn't find a sense of belonging in all of those countries, and at some point I realized I may never belong anywhere. But that's okay. Although my circumstances that led me to leave my homeland took something away from me, it also gave me the gift of finding comfort within chaos and home within myself. This is usually the point of the film where conflict is resolved, the story reaches an ending and everyone is satisfied. But I sat at my computer for over an hour trying to figure out how this story might end. I couldn't though, because there is no resolution to this conflict within me, at least not yet. I can say though that I at least have come to terms with this changing identity of mine. I have come to accept chaos as comfort, and I am working on finding home within myself. I'm honestly grateful for the life I've led, and I wouldn't change anything if I could. This life shaped me into the person that I am and allowed me to become transnational. It allowed me to have the ability to reattach my roots wherever I go or please. So I'm not gonna fight it or blame it anymore. But I do still have many days where I feel lost, and the loneliness of it all does get to me. That's when I try to remember my mom's words.
يعني أنا فيني أقول لك إنه فخورة فيكي وبالقرارات اللي تتخذيها باتجاه حياتك وبناء حياتك، وإنه ما تعتمدي على حدا، على نفسك بس بالمقابل أحب تفكري بإنه أنتي البنت الشرقية اللي اجت على الغرب، أوكي، واللي دائما تبقى خصالها الشرقية الحلوة فيها، يعني إنه تاخدي من الغرب الحلو ومن الشرق الحلو، عرفتي؟ يعني ما هلا انتي اصلا سورية، اوكي، معك الجنسية الألمانية، اوكي، لتدوري على الهيمن تبعك بتلاقي ممكن بهداك الوقت، يعني ممكن نقول عنك مغتربة.
مغتربة عن سوريا ولا مغتربة عن شو؟
مغتربة، يعني بدك تقولي مغتربة تبحث عن الذات.